This story starts at the last Scout Nationals, where we saw this black Scout for sale. We weren't really looking for a new project at the time, but we started the hunt soon after. And after several months of not finding what we were looking for, we reached out and made a deal on the Scout we now call Hank. We drove down and met with our Maryland Scout friends and ended up driving Hank over 250 miles home. It went well, all things considered, but it wasn't without stress. The e-brake didn't fully disengage when I left. I only had a driver's side mirror. It was hot. I was in a black tin can. I was afraid to force the wing windows open, and the handling was completely different than my Scout. The rest of the drive went pretty well until I got close to my road and the drive shaft U-joints said they had enough. I also found that the steering joint had come loose, which explained part of the handling issues. I fixed these issues and a few others with hopes of getting it back on the road before it got cold, but I think the PA inspection gods would frown on Hank's current condition. We picked up a new bed, a quarter, and a bunch of other random parts, and we're trying to get both Scouts to Scout Nationals this year. You're good, you don't have to worry about it. My daughter spent the day in the garage with me working on the Scout. It was pretty special being able to spend that time with your kids. One more. My daughter got involved today and broke all these spot welds off of this gas tank hanger. This stuff was kind of a mess. I thought I'd have to rebuild the whole thing, but honestly it doesn't look too bad. I'll have to do some work here, but that looks all pretty well reusable, but all that sheet metal was on top of it, so she tackled that. And these hangers for the rear bumper were all rust weld and seized, and I put impacts on here and everything was totally froze up, but she spent some time today getting both of those unseized, which was a huge pain and also a huge benefit, because that kind of stuff was a lot of work, and honestly I've had these parts sitting here ready to be worked on and I really didn't want to do it, so kudos to her. That was a huge help. So otherwise, just been working in here, trying to put some support. Found the new piece. This is kind of temporary. I'm going to clean this up before I weld it anymore. It's not the best patch, but 1/8 inch steel, a little better than what was there, and this was all gone before. So I'm trying to get all this stuff lined up across here, and I may not weld anything. I may put another couple tacks in this for now, but I'm really gonna have to spend a lot of time trying to get everything aligned before I commit to anything too much. And I've also got new body mounts coming in a couple days, so I'm gonna take all this back apart, but I want to make sure that I can get that bed in here at some point. I think the plan is I can't put the bed in as long as these supports are here, so I'm gonna get these back supports in here, try to get them to the point where this stuff can be held on, the quarters can be held on by this rear support, and then I can just cut this off or whatever, get this out of the way. I can lay that bed in here, maybe just put a couple 2x4s in the middle just to lift it up a little bit, and then I can lay that bed in and see how everything's gonna fit. And that might be really helpful as I do these, as I put all the new metal in here, just to make sure things are gonna line up. I'm really nervous about getting this far disassembled and then trying to keep everything aligned. I know this bracing was here. Whenever I put this bracing in, that tailgate just had a little bit of extra space in it, so I'm aware of that, but it should be pretty close. Okay, it's like Christmas around here. I've got all new body mounts and lift, 2-inch body lifts as well, lift pucks or whatever they're called. So these are sold separately, but I I just put those all together. All that stuff came within the last day. Plus I've got these. These are the new pins for the rear seat. Since it'll go here. Well, yeah, somewhere like that. These ones were pretty bad. So I've got these to go in there, which will make a nice clean install. You know, something like that. Anyway, I've got those. I've also got this, which is going to be super important here because I don't even want to talk about this yet, but this will go in here roughly like that, and that's going to buy us a lot of that's going to replace a lot of this stuff and make our lives a lot easier. This will all get cut off here. I will have to rebuild and do a lot of work in here still, but that's okay. Eventually I'll do the rockers. I'm not worried about that right now. The rockers are as ugly as they are. They're there. So in theory, I should be able to lift it just enough. I have a lot of problems though. This metal needs bent back up. I don't know if people gusset those, if that's a common practice, because I don't remember this being an issue on the other Scout, but that metal is kind of bent down a little bit. All right, so these other ones I think are going to be a little harder to get out. And the body mounts themselves here are different, and you can see these. I don't know how much of that you can see. This was all conformed to the shape of the old lift buck, which these are probably completely fine, to be honest. If somebody needs these, when I take them off, they'll have them. But the body mounts themselves were shot. These so far seem like they're pretty fine, and they're exactly the same as what I just bought. The door here looks fairly decent, way better than it did before I was replacing any of this back here. I could put my entire fingers through this top of this gap, and now it looks fairly even all the way down. So I mean, I think it's in the right ballpark. That's really all I'm looking for right now. I'm pretty happy with the way I have this temporarily supported. Just some scrap metal here, tacked to the back panel here, welded here and here. Again, same on the other side. And then when I first did this, the first weld I made was pretty cold, and I didn't have the machine set up high enough, and this weld broke. But that was kind of nice because I'd welded it a little too long, and now I have the ability to just kind of put these into the pockets down here and then shim them, which has been nice to help with some, you know, temporary alignment stuff while I'm working on this. I need to get this piece replaced, obviously this piece here, and looks like there's just 2 holes in there that'll need drilled, basically the same size as that. So I have this piece of scrap. It's actually really close to the same size. It's almost 14 gauge. It's from my computer desk whenever I was like 16, but it just keeps on giving. All right, so there's some ugly welds with, I'm not too worried about it. A little bit of a bend in there I'll have to get out, but I haven't been welding in a while, so I'm not going to worry about any criticism. Start there for the rocker, where the new rocker is going to be eventually. That should be correct. I'll be able to weld this up, weld a piece in here, and fully box this in. I don't feel too bad about this. This would definitely, like, what I should be doing is looking for a new quarter, an entire new quarter. Arguably an entire new tub, but that's not really in the cards, so that's okay. I can reproduce this. It's just the tough part's going to be making sure that everything still lines up. When everything's put together, making sure all the gaps are right, making sure that everything's still adjustable, and making sure that we don't have a bunch of garbage rotting behind the scenes. So I'm gonna clean this up, cut this piece, and start test fitting. Okay, I've cut out the bottom of the door pillar here, and I've got this ready to weld here. Should be fairly straightforward. I'm going to put a couple tacks in it and then test fit it, and then basically just continue, and then that'll cover the face right there. Then I'll come in and cap it here. So that should get that door pillar fixed. And then I've got the whole body mount here and that whole situation. But once I get this in here, I'll actually before I install it, I'll go ahead and drill the holes based on where they were in the old piece here, because this will fit right up in there. I should be able to get really close to where those 3 holes are. Which is great, and I'll weld some captive nuts onto the back of the new piece. Alright, I think we're in pretty good shape here. I've been trimming this up and that looks like it's gonna be pretty decent. I gotta fill this gap with weld, make sure that this is nice and tight, and then I'll have a little bit of a gap here. Might have to make that just a touch bigger over here so that I could weld that. And then I think I'll cap it over here, and I'll do my drilling. This is good. I welded this together. I welded it on both sides, and then I just ground these down to clean it up. There's plenty of weld in there. It's plenty strong enough. Some of these welds are kind of nice, some of them not. But this is you know, stitch welding. A lot of it I couldn't continuously weld the whole thing. The fitment right now seems pretty good. I'm not too worried about it. If I have anything, I might possibly just trim that but up there, but I'm just going to double check that. And then I think what I'm going to do is take this original piece, and using this cut line here and this cut line here to square it up with where my piece is, I'm going to transfer these 3 holes. I'll cut the rest of this off so that I can do that a little more cleanly, and then that should get me in pretty good position so that I'm true to where I'm supposed to actually be on here. And then that matters a whole lot, because then this piece is going to go here and it's going to hit those holes. There's more than 3, but let me see, this one should line up. What do we got? 2, 3. There's 3 holes right there, and if I get those 3 in pretty good place, then I could put the other 2 in, and I should be in pretty good shape. I'll drill and put the captive nuts on the back of this before I get the whole thing together, and then if there's anything that's you know, if I absolutely had to, I could always ream these holes out a little bit and adjust to make sure that everything is makes sense once it's all put together, because that's the big problem right now. I've got so much of this Scout tore apart that trying to make sure all of this stuff's going to fit, align, and you know, all the body alignment is going to be right in the end. That's, you know, that's the big concern. So I feel pretty good about this. I've got a pretty good template here, and I can match up to the original. So that's what I'll do now. I'll check in with you later. Oh no, that's nasty. It's actually welding so hot I actually burned through a little bit right there. So I'll have to watch. I'm really happy with that. I don't think any of those are going anywhere. I'll just clean this up, and I think this is going to fit pretty perfect. I'll get this aligned in there. I'm gonna probably just toss this in the blast cabinet for a minute, just knock all the shine off, and then probably tack it in, and then eventually whenever I get the paint gun out, I'll probably leave this open so that I can spray up through the back of this and coat everything once it's actually welded in. That way I can get the back as well as possible. I might use like a frame coating or something like that too, like a wand, and go through all of that to try to cover as much as possible. There's no way to get the inside any other way. Same in here. I'll knock off all the rust I can, anything heavy, and then I'll probably try to go through and, you know, use a spray bottle with a wand on it or something to try to get some like something coated in there. But I've been kind of ADHD about all of these projects on the Scout, where I'm going, what I'm doing. It's frustrating to me. I'm sure it's frustrating to watch, but I've got this put in here over the last day, which I'm really happy with, but I just have it tacked in case I need to move it. I was just thinking about starting to replace all of this with this, but I don't really want to do that because I can't, once I cut that, I need to be able to fairly quickly weld that in and get it installed here on and attach all of this stuff. But I don't want to attach it with bare metal, so I need to get epoxy primer on the new piece as well as this column, but I need to be able to treat all of that so that it's ready to go. So that's kind of on hold. I've been working on all of this metal, trying to get as much of this rust out as I can. Been making a lot of progress. That's good. That's just tedious and it's no fun to watch. I'm gonna probably, this wheel tub's on hold. I'm probably gonna cut right along that body all the way through. I will have to cut some of this out a little more than I'd like, but that's okay. And then once I do that, I'll have a place for this to go. I think that'll be fine, but I can't really put this in until I'm ready to do the quarter, the outside quarter, because I don't know how deep it needs to go. I'd rather wait and do it then. And you know, this has some rot even into the vehicle, but that's okay because I think that that will overlap and I'll be able to cut all of that out. So I'm happy with that, but I can't do anything about it right now. This corner post is temporarily installed there. I've drilled a couple nuts. I've put this, or I've drilled a couple holes and welded a nut to the other side. This is actually bolted in. And this, you know, is kind of temporary. These welds are kind of ugly. Once I take this cap off, I can figure out whether or not I'm going to clean that up and make that permanent or redo it. But I don't want to take the cap off yet because I want to make sure that my alignment for my tailgate's still good. So before I get too far, I would like to put my tailgate back on temporarily, make sure that we're good as far as alignment goes there, and then I'll probably be able to take those caps off. I've also got this corner where I've got things that aren't right here yet. So obviously these holes aren't lining up. I've got a little bit of stuff to play with. I've got to clean this. There's a couple cuts here. I've got to flatten this metal, just work the metal a little bit and get rid of the rest of that little bit of rust that's there. I'm confident that stuff will not be too terribly bad. That's probably what I should be working on. And then I've got all the rust on the frame, right? So I've been treating that. I've been wire brushing it and everything, and I think I've got the, you know, I think I'm fairly happy with where this is. I'll give it a final coat with acid before I'm ready to paint, because it's, you can see a little bit of orange there. It's just probably flash rusting a touch, just being in the humidity of the air here. But I've got to get under the frame the rest of the way and kind of finish that. And I want to get basically up to the body mounts so that I can get all of that done all at once. And that'll be a huge step. So instead of completing any other part of the project, I started a new one. I cut away the rest of the quarter here. This is all hopefully smooth enough to not cut me right now. Maybe not that. Anyway, I cut away the rest of the quarter. That was tedious. Drilled out as many spot welds as I could. I'm just gonna toss that quarter, the new outer quarter up real quick. Just because, I guess, I don't know, it'll make me feel good about it. So I've been really stressed out about trying to get everything aligned and back where it's supposed to be. And I've been looking over at this side. Actually, I started over here and I just kind of threw a piece of metal in here. I bolted it in. I put a captive nut over on that side and at least got all of that secure, but still trying to figure out whether or not it's perfectly aligned is another story. And then I've also got to pull that cap and clean all of that metal, and you know, I may redo that piece in the future. There's a lot more work there that's not done, but I was worried about this side because of having some alignment issues, as you can see in these holes here, but also just in general, things just weren't lining up perfectly. And I found this, which is awesome. There is actually the original nut or threaded piece on the back there, so I should be basically it gives me like an alignment hole for the cross member to this piece, to the actual quarter. So the only thing that's really missing is there's not a hole here, but basically once I get that other once I get a bolt through that other hole, that's going to give me, generally speaking, that's going to give me my alignment here. So that's good. That's like a known value. So I can start kind of basing things on that. And then I think I'm going to focus over here and try to get all this metal fixed and get this all aligned, feel good about this, and then try to get the tailgate put back in here, make sure that it's in the right place. Okay, that was a pain, but I do have a bolt going through there now, and that really secured everything a lot. And before, I was actually having a pretty bad alignment issue here with these holes, and that's still not perfect, but that's a lot closer than what it was. And the mounts here, these are actually, there's some adjustment in there. There's only 2 screws out of the 4. I'm not too worried about that. That's close enough for right now. So things are, I can't even move it right now. I'm off of the mount here. This one's barely touching, but it is. So I just was playing around with the doors. All the doors, both the doors right now are closing pretty decent. Seems like the body's kind of squaring up a lot now. Okay, made a little bit of progress here. I got the tailgate back on. This gap that used to be up here is looking pretty good. That's mostly closed up. I mean, this only matters so much for now, but it looks pretty consistent all the way up and down, just a little wider at the top. This one's a little wider over here. It's still not terrible, but the bottom is really the only thing I care about. Whenever I put this support in, I even made mention that it was a little wide. I should have shortened it a little bit. So that's, I think, just really, that's the only thing that matters. As far as this at the bottom, that's really what I care about. So I think I can go ahead and pull that tailgate back off now. Probably, what do I need to do? I need to pull this cap off. I need to drill out the spot welds, pull this cap off, and kind of get it ready to go. That way I can get to this center post and make all that right. But at least now the measurements are good. I've got one other hole I got to drill over there. It's the second hole in that post, and then the rear cross member is basically ready to go. I just need to be able to paint it. Okay, I got the tailgate off, obviously. I've got all the hardware off on the passenger side. And this is the last screw in the driver's passenger side. I already got driver's side. Nice. Okay, cool. One of the worst parts about filming, aside from like how long it takes to actually put together a video, which is significant, is I gotta keep turning the TV on and off because it's pretty boring trying to sit in here in a garage and just film and not have anything in the background. First world problems. Cool. Next time this goes in, it'll be going in for good. I drilled my hole over here, which is a little bit, I had to do a little bit blind, but it turned out to be perfect. I need to go step up a bit or two in size, which is perfect. Intentionally drilled that just a touch small, so that'll give me a little bit of play. You know, there should be a hole on both sides like that that adjusts that, so that connects to that rear support. Okay, cool. So I think I want to take this cap off. It's already loose up here, but there's going to be all of these wherever these are. Welds, and then that should pop off. I should be able to blast that, and I'll be able to clean all this up. And then I'm continuing. I'm not filming all of this because this is freaking boring, but that acid takes forever. So I'm putting acid on. I'm hitting it with a wire brush, just agitating it, just rubbing or just trying to grind into the rot that's there. And you know, this part through here, I'm starting to get bare metal through there. I did message somebody today on Facebook to see if they had some extra pieces. I'm just kind of, I hate to do it. I should have done it from the beginning. I should have just got a quarter and post to post if I could have, but I didn't really. It seemed like this wasn't going to be too bad, and I did this exact same patch right here on the other Scout, but I went back and looked at the pictures, and I still had the lip all the way through here on the other Scout. So it definitely wasn't quite as bad. Anyway, regardless, I've already got that post all done, so I'm ready to kind of move on with that center section there. And I was thinking about that, and it's been kind of holding me up because I wanted to be able to prime it with epoxy primer before I do anything there. But what I might do, I have epoxy primer, it's just not black, and none of this is going to show. So what I might do is go through and get all the areas that are you know, mating surfaces or whatever, and make sure that those are just, you know, just painted on with a brush, and just cover those really well so that that's all complete. All right, I know that looks like Swiss cheese, but that's okay. That's not too bad. I'm pretty happy with that. Another day on the Scout. We're gonna let that warm up. It's like 0 degrees outside right now, and it was a little slow to start. I want to get the rest of this paint off of here, and then I want to clean up this post so that I can start doing like final fabrication and getting this all ready to go. Wrapping that up. Then I'll need to do a little bit of work down here, pound out a little bit of that waviness, but otherwise this cap's in pretty good shape. I'm glad I saved it. There's 2 cracks in here, and this metal is just pushing out. So I just tried to put that back in place with a hammer. I'm just gonna give it a couple little tacks and try to strengthen that before it rips anymore. Oh, I forgot that was going to interfere. All right, I think that worked out better. Most of that on the inside's clear. Now I'm just going to grind down this a little bit. Okay. Pretty happy with that. Double check clearances. So separating this piece of metal in the back is proving to be a little more difficult than I'd hoped. I've got a lot of it out. There's just those two pieces that are back of this and here that are still left. The problem I'm running into is there's so many tack welds along this piece that there's not a lot of this is getting kind of loose as I bend on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill a couple of these holes just to give it a little extra support. I use the copper backing, and I'm just going to plug these holes. So the copper should separate, yep. And then that hole is plugged. And then on the back, you can see that weld. I don't know if you can see it. The weld didn't push through too far. So I can clean that up later, but that's a lot. There's a lot more support there. I've got the quarter up temporarily, the cap, and I wish I was actually ready to burn that in, but not even close. This post behind here still needs a lot of work, and I'm still doing a lot of rust treatment on the inside. I've still got to get that whole body mount over there dealt with, as well as all of the work here. That's probably going to be coming up in one of the next videos. I did get some chassis black from VHT for the frame. That's what I'm going to use in the frame. I will use epoxy primer on all of the body panels, but these frames are so beefy to begin with. And I'd kind of like to just have something I can spray from a can. So I think, if I need to touch it up or whatever, I'll just get more of that. So pretty good with that. I will take a run chain through here and do an internal frame coating as well once I get a chance when the weather's better. Next up, I've got that that body mount there, the in the front of the quarter. So all of that, and between those pillars, I'm probably going to be working on that. I've got a gas tank that's leaking. The main tank that's in here has a leak in the top where the sending unit goes in. So I think I just need to probably pull that sending unit and figure out whether or not that needs replaced. But I'll take that tank and it's got a dent in it. I'll probably try to get that dent out while that sending unit is out of it, and get that cleaned up and painted so that it's ready to go. Speaking of fuel system, I've got the filler neck here. I've got the filler neck here, and I'm not that far away from needing to put this back in. So I need to kind of divert a little attention to this, and I want to clean it up. I want to get it painted. I've got new hose to go on the main piece here. So I'm probably going to start looking into that here soon as well. So that's kind of where we're at. I'm going to wrap it up here because I'm tired, and I think I'm going to have plenty of material. But all right, thanks guys. Snow's coming. Gotta put the Scout away. So are we gonna get over a foot? You tell me.